Hello, Sketchnote Adventures, and welcome to the Very Messy Desk Sketchnote Adventure series, inspired by this guy, Stanley the Hamster, and this book, Stanley and the Very Messy Desk, An Adventure in Sketchnoting. Let's see what adventure we get to go on today. First, we want you to pick what type of paper you're going to sketchnote with. I'm going to sketchnote on this nice big piece of paper, but you can pick line paper, colored paper, bullet journal paper, dotted paper, whatever paper you like. Then you're going to want to pick your favorite writing tool or drawing tool. I'm going to use a Sharpie. You can use a pencil, marker, whatever tool you're most comfortable using. Next, we're going to pick a topic. And topics for sketchnoting can come from anything and from anywhere. Let's see what adventure we get to go on this time. Textbook. Stanley and I want you to go on a textbook adventure with us. So we want you to see how it looks, feel how it feels, and hear our thinking when we sketchnote a specific topic from a textbook. And that's the adventure we're going to go on today. So Stanley and I are going to open this book randomly, and whatever page I turn to is going to be what we sketchnote. All right, here we go, sketchnoters. Okay, here we are. This is the page we landed on. Gene regulation and prokaryotes. I see down here it says Unit 6, the structure and function of DNA. When I look at this page, I also see really bold print here, and my eyes are drawn to this section because it tells me that this could be a good anchor for my sketchnote, something that my sketchnote is going to hook onto and be weighed down to, that my sketchnote is going to be all about. And so I could choose this Unit 6 section as my topic of my sketchnote and then have different parts of it, and gene regulation would be one of them. But for this adventure, I'm going to use this as my topic, gene regulation and prokaryotes as my main topic. Got my paper, my pen, my topic. Let's go ahead and start sketchnoting. Now, if you remember, I talked about an anchor, not the kind in a boat, but the kind that hooks us on to ideas. It keeps us grounded and in place in what we're doing, and it's going to keep us focused on what we're doing. And our anchor for this sketchnoting is gene regulation in prokaryotes. You can put your anchor, your topic, anywhere on this paper you want to. I am going to start over here in this corner. There is no right and no wrong way to sketchnote. And I'm going to add a container, a shape that encloses information and helps the sketchnote stay organized. So I'm just going to concentrate on this page and this page of information to fill up my sketchnote. As I'm scanning the text, I don't see any subtopics or littler words that are bolded in between the big title, which would help lead my sketchnote to help me know what else might want to take, what I could either pre-put on my sketchnote or what I could make sure I leave room for. But I do see there's some questions here in my textbook. There's an activity here, and there's a connection that the teachers want me to make. So I'm already thinking of changes in the environment. Things change. Environment makes me think of trees and grass and the world that we live in. And so even before we start on that, I'm going to start with my anchor and add some visuals to this to help keep my thinking even more focused because of that part of the text that told me what my super hyper focus should be. I'm imagining the earth. I'm imagining a tree. So it said changes in the environment. The environment's also water, Add a little flower. Maybe another one. And then I'm also going to draw some arrows because change in science is all about cycles, right? Or at least that's what I think is going to happen here. And so now, since I've pre-scanned the text to help me figure out anything that I want to add to my sketch note, I see that there's a visual here, but I'm not going to worry about that yet because I still need to read the information to help me understand this. So I'm just going to take one paragraph at a time. Paragraphs for me, because I've been sketchnoting for a long time, but if I was a new sketchnoter, I might start with a sentence or a couple sentences at a time. Once I get really good at sketchnoting, I could do a paragraph at a time, a page at a time, especially if I'm doing a big section of text. I could take a whole page and try to synthesize that into one or two ideas, and then a couple of doodles on there with those couple ideas, especially if I'm going to do a lot of text. But for this one, it's nice and short. It's 2 pages. So I've got my anchoring topic, and I'm just going to stick with each paragraph. So I'm going to read one paragraph, and then I'll talk you through what connected with me. So we're going to fill this paper with words and doodles all about the topic of gene regulation in prokaryotes. And when I'm reading this information, I want to think about, is any of the information that I am reading, is it new? Is it interesting? Does it make me feel something like, ooh, that's cool, or ooh, that's interesting, or oh my gosh, I love it, or oh, I never thought of that. So is it new? Is it interesting? Or does it make me feel something? And if I have that reaction to any of this information, it's going to go on my sketch note as long as it's about gene regulation in prokaryotes. Because transcription and translation occur at the same time in prokaryotic cells, gene expression in these cells is mainly regulated at the start of transcription. Prokaryotic cells control gene expression using operons to turn genes on or off during transcription. An operon is a region of DNA that includes a promoter, an operator, and one or more structural genes that code for all the proteins needed to do specific tasks. The promoter is a segment of DNA that helps the enzymes RNA polymers locate the starting point for transcription. Whew, that's a lot of science. All right, so the first part that connects with me is that prokaryotic cells control gene expression, on and off. And when I imagine that, I imagine a light switch because it's on and off. Like an on and off switch. And then it says the promoter is a segment of DNA that helps the enzyme RNA polymers locate the starting point of transcription. So we've got little Mr. Prometer. Well, let me explain to you what I was doing while I was reading this. So for me, this level of science text was super complex. I realized the complexity of this text. And so I knew that I was going to focus on the main words. So we've got operon, promoter, that I was going to need to use those in my sketch note because they would be new to me. I didn't know them, right? The basic text. And once I was able to connect the basic vocabulary with visuals, things that they made me imagine, it started to make better sense. And then there was a short story about who discovered some parts of this science. I realized that I needed to summarize the text. So instead of trying to take sentence by sentence or connecting with specific things that really made me feel something, because this was complex for me, I decided that I was going to just summarize this paragraph, and whatever this paragraph meant to me, I was going to sketchnote here. And so I learned about increases or block transcription. I also learned about this thing called lac operon, which as I was reading it, trying to make sense of what it meant to me, I let this word start talking about the things that I read, which I love to do. I love to have words or things talk, because then I can take the information from the text and put it right into my sketch note, even if I'm not quite sure what it means. And then as I got to this second to last paragraph here, I realized that there was a great example here. And so I used the word example, put a big square around it, because I wanted my brain, when it sees this sketch note, to see this container and think example. And then I just used the cycle that this went through, because it went in a step-by-step approach. If this is present, then this happens. If this happens, then this happens, and this happens. And I was able to get here. And so now as I read the last paragraph to myself, and as I finish reading up this paragraph, I realize that I am good on what I have. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add color to this. And so color can be added just to make it fancy and cute, or color can be used to connect different parts of information. And for this one, I'm going to pick colors to connect my sketch note together. So anywhere there's something about an operator, I'm going to make it in blue. And as I'm coloring, I can think about a variety of different things. I can think about the sketch note and what's on it. I can think about what else I need to learn. I can also just have fun and smile as I color. I think I'm going to just stick with blue. So we've got our switch of on and off. It's on. Or it's off. And then we've got our blockers. Which tell things are either going to pause and then got two other things that happen. Either it saves the cell energy, and then just for fun, because my brain wants me to, because oh my goodness, was that a stretch on my brain. I am just gonna have some fun and add some color to this sketch note. I remind myself I did a good job on this sketch note, that when my teacher teaches me more about this lesson, or I learn more about this, I have lots of that I want to ask. But for this moment, in this experience with this information, I did a great job. And that's the script that is going through my head right now. And you can't see me, but I'm smiling at the adventure that I had. This new information that was hard and uncomfortable. But I had fun and I learned something and I did it anyways. All right, Sketchnote Adventures, that was an adventure in science and an adventure in sketchnoting. Stanley and I hope that you were part of this adventure here, that you picked up a piece of paper and a pencil or a pen and you sketchnoted along with us, or that you decide the next time you see a textbook, you decide to pick up a piece of paper, grab a pencil or a pen, and go on a sketchnoting adventure with that textbook. That you take in that information, connect with it, visualize it, and draw your learning and connect with it in a new and powerful way that we know that will be all kinds of fun. And then, if you do decide to sketchnote, please be sure to snap a picture of your sketchnote and share it out on Twitter or Instagram using hashtag SATVMD. Stanley and the Very Messy Desk, so that Stanley and I can see all the adventures that you have gotten into.